Original name: Cyberpunk 1986. Another universe. In 1986, the human population of Terra migrated to various colonial planets, and the influence of the Terra federal government gradually weakened. Giant enterprises control everything, and people are addicted to neon lights and holographic projection advertisements, unable to extricate themselves. No hope. No hope. Keywords of the novel: Death of Hope with no pop-ups. Download the complete TXT collection of Death of Hope, and read the latest chapters of Death of Hope. Chapter 1. Flying Wealth, 1, York City. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 2. Flying Wealth, 2, Old Limp Bar. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Flying Wealth, 2, Old Limp Bar. Pushing open the door, the bar was still shrouded in smoke and bustling with voices. The metal floor is covered in cigarette butts and broken glass bottles, with cockroaches rampant, and the hygiene situation is worrying. The owner of this bar is John the Elder, a veteran of the Terra Federation, who is not wealthy but respected. Old John was injured during the Colonial War when he was young. His left leg was blown away by an alien sensor mine, and he underwent amputation surgery. With a meager pension, he opened this small bar to make a living. The old man is accustomed to standing next to the bar. He was wearing a worn-out Tesla Federal uniform, a second-class combat honor medal on his chest, a neatly combed snow-white beard, a bald head with a wig, and a walnut cane in his hand. He had fewer legs than others, but stood straighter than anyone else. The old man is just like the image on the neon sign. The craftsman who makes the lights is really excellent. Roy said. Hello, old man. Just finished work. How was today? Not much. It's really uncomfortable. What, you got bitten by a wild dog on your ankle again? I would rather be bitten by a dog. Today is 100 times worse than that annoying production line leader Diana. After spending so much time together, she still shows no mercy at all. Just because she went to the restroom more often, she deducted my work score. This month's attendance award is in vain. It sounds really bad, the veteran laughed. We need some alcohol to anesthetize ourselves. That's how we did it when we were in the army. That's right. Let's get drunk tonight and take a break. Roy walked to the bar and patted 2 coins against the table. Keep going. The coin slid towards the bartender, and Roy's movements were so graceful that he didn't look like a poor guy, but rather like a wealthy young man from a wealthy family. What can I drink? 2 cups of flamingo depth charges, with ice, thank you, and 2 pieces of synthetic protein artificial steak, 6 ripe. 6 maturities. The bartender sneered at him and said, Roy, you're really pretending. Do artificially synthesized things still need to be mature? Do you think you're going to a high-end restaurant for a big meal, ha ha ha. The drinkers around burst out laughing. Poor people like to pretend to be garlic. Why are you laughing? What's up with you again? Then switch to real steak. It's half cooked. Roy took out 2 coins and slid down the bar. The bartender grabbed the coin and swept it into the drawer of the cashier. I really don't understand, you bastard can even find a partner. Anna, as usual, came to the jukebox, threw in a coin, clicked on a famous hip-hop dog song, and watched the holographic projection of the characters singing and dancing. With a cheerful rhythm, having a late-night snack and drinking delicious wine, the pressure of the day is released, and there are more and more empty cups on the bar. The TV hanging on the wall is broadcasting news. Conflict has erupted again in the urban area, and an illegal labor union organization is holding a large-scale rally in front of the headquarters of Sakura Corporation, hoping to increase wages and benefits. The union founder wanted to meet with Mr. Matsushita Shibingwei, CEO of Sakura Corporation, but was decisively refused. The company's security and protesters pushed each other, which later escalated into a bloody conflict, with both sides shooting at each other. As of the deadline for publication, this conflict has resulted in the deaths of 13 union members, 5 corporate security guards, and over 100 injured individuals on both sides. The police spokesperson claimed that the protest was an illegal gathering, and that the union was an unregistered illegal violent organization. 326 people, including the union's founder, have been arrested. These thugs have committed multiple crimes, including illegal possession of firearms and ammunition, provocation and disturbance, destruction of public and private property, obstruction of public roads, intentional homicide, and so on. A spokesperson for the York City Police Department stated that they will launch a heavy attack on illegal trade unions, confiscate illegal firearms, and create a good public security environment for our city. It's all nonsense, the bartender cursed. The company's security guards don't even care if they kill people with guns. The city police station's moths definitely charge a lot of money. The drinkers were also cursing incessantly, with some throwing French fries at the TV screen. At 11 o'clock, Anna realized that Roy was drunk. The veteran walked over with a cane. "Roy, this kid always shows off when he can't handle alcohol." To be honest, the veteran leaned closer to Anna's ear and whispered, "Girl, this kid doesn't deserve you. He loves me, I love him, that's enough." Anna laughed off this and said, "I have to go to work tomorrow and take this drunk home, but I'm too weak to carry him." "Don't worry, I'll arrange it." Old John shouted to the kitchen staff. "Hello. Downey. Carry this dead pig back. Escort our lady home." "Thank you." Anna kissed the veteran's rough skin. "Excuse me, everyone. It's already 12 o'clock, the road is too dangerous, there are some thugs and gang members wandering around." The old soldier still felt uneasy and stuffed an automatic pistol into the hands of the tavern staff. "Hey, fat guy, take it now. It's a gentleman's duty to protect the lady's safety. Remember how to shoot. Open the safety, aim and pull the trigger," said the chubby tavern clerk. "Don't worry, I'm very skilled at playing video games and my marksmanship is amazing." "Fool. You really should play fewer games. Your brain is ruined," the veteran cursed. Leaving the old limp bar, the tavern staff carried Roy behind their backs, and Anna led the way. The three of them walked through a dark and narrow alley, along a long staircase. Occasionally, someone whistles at Anna on the road. "Little girl. Come and play." Anna didn't care either, she just smiled and avoided it. As a tall and beautiful girl who lives in a poverty-stricken neighborhood with worrying public security, she has long been accustomed to various verbal harassment. The towering concrete buildings in the jungle are like rusty cages imprisoning death row inmates, and even the best mood can be suppressed by this environment. The streetlights on the street were used as targets for practicing marksmanship. The road was dark, and people lay by the drainage ditch, whether they were drunk or corpses. A group of gang members with guns on their waists gathered together for a meeting, and the wise way was to walk around and pretend not to see them. The three of them arrived at number 0127, a huge low-rent residential building in York City. By then, Roy was already feeling better and could be helped to walk. The dilapidated elevator creaked and sounded like it was about to fall apart at any moment, but fortunately that didn't happen. At the entrance of room 08 on the 140th floor, Anna thanked the tavern staff. "Thank you, Donnie. You're welcome, take care of yourself. I'm going back to play games." The dirty hallway is noisy, with neighbors arguing, throwing things, and occasionally hearing children crying and dogs barking. Opening the iron door covered in spray paint and graffiti with the key, Roy suddenly woke up and rushed straight to the toilet. He lifted the toilet lid and knelt to vomit, then lay unconscious on it. "Hey, it's really not reassuring." Anna treated him like a paralyzed patient, helping him change clothes, wash up, wipe clean, and then apply talcum powder. A voice message came over the phone, rumored to be the manager of the property management company for this affordable housing building. He spoke out the cruel fact with very polite words, that if the rent and management fees cannot be paid within 15 days, the tenant of the 14008 affordable housing will be forcibly evicted to the street by the security. Anna muttered to herself. It's okay, I'll call my mom tomorrow to borrow money. If I can't, I'll ask my older brother for help. Roy heard everything, his nose soured, and he burst into tears. I'm sorry. My dear, I'm really useless. You've drunk too much, go to bed now. My mind is very clear. I heard old John's words at the tavern. He said I'm not good enough for you, which sounds unpleasant, but it's true, all right. Look at how you've been wronged. She placed Roy's head on her thigh as if coaxing a child. Don't cry, dear. I won't marry anyone except you. Everything will be okay, don't worry. Roy's drunkenness rose again and he went to the toilet to vomit. When Anna helped him rinse his mouth and wipe it clean, he said half asleep and half awake, drowsy. Dear, one day, I want to take you out of this damn place, immigrant to other planets and make a fortune. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Flying Wealth, 3, Operators. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3, Flying Wealth, 3, Operators. The next day, Roy woke up in a daze, with a splitting headache, as if hundreds of insects had crawled into his ears. This is the price of a hangover. He is now extremely eager for sleep, and every cell in his body seems to be holding up a sign to strike. Ding-ling-ling. The electronic alarm clock stops every time Roy rings, and it rings 3 times without waking him up. If it weren't for Anna forcefully pulling him up, he would definitely miss the train. If that were the case, he would definitely be late today. In the early morning, York City was shrouded in fog with visibility of less than 50 meters. Cars on the road drove cautiously with fog lights on. At this time, air pollution was the most severe of the day, and even if there were some conditions, they wouldn't take the risk of going out. The originally white mist was dyed urine yellow by various chemicals, and the rainfall turned into strong corrosive acid rain. Raindrops dropped onto the car window, leaving clear marks, like tears. In order to save costs, light rail trains are only equipped with simple air filtration devices, which can only filter out large particles of gravel and have no effect on micro-radiation dust. As a result, all the dirt is sucked into the lungs. The train broadcast repeatedly reminded people that this morning both the urban and suburban areas had yellow alerts for severe pollution. Please pay attention to protection. People didn't react at all after listening, with numbness on their faces. Those who should listen to music, those who should read newspapers, have long been accustomed to living in a dirty atmosphere. Whether they die or live depends entirely on luck. At the end of the year, only in a few days with strong winds can the air pollution index drop to a mild green level. Living in York City, headscarves and masks don't work at all. Gas masks need to be replaced with filter cartridges frequently, which is definitely not affordable for the poor. Therefore, it's better not to wear them and smash them. Most of the people in the car were coughing, and the ground was covered with discarded tissues. The syrup cough medicine in the vending machine in the middle of the carriage became a hot-selling commodity and quickly sold out. It's not because this syrup cough suppressant has good therapeutic effects, but because the additives inside are highly addictive, forcing ordinary people to become addicts, and the pharmaceutical factory owner makes a fortune as a result. Arriving at the Spike fuel cell factory station, the workers moved strangely in unison, limping and yawning like a group of zombies. Working 10 to 12 hours a day, excluding commuting and private time, only allows for 5 or 6 hours of sleep, which is far from the recommended sleep time by the doctor. If you suffer from insomnia, it means you have no energy to work, and if you cannot achieve production efficiency, you will be fired by the factory. In today's situation where most people have zero savings and high debt, unemployment is clearly fatal, so most people take strong sleeping pills and pursue the effect of snoring when they touch the pillow. After completing their attendance cards, the workers lined up to collect protective clothing. These cheap plastic protective suits are embedded with several thin lead plates, which have a certain radiation protection effect, but can only protect important organs. Roy is a testing operator whose job is to put semi-finished fuel rods from nuclear fusion cells into precision instruments for testing, if all readings are qualified, place the product on the left conveyor belt to reach the next production line. If it is not qualified, place it on the right conveyor belt and send it to the waste bin for safe disposal. Saying it's safe destruction, everyone in the factory knows it. In fact, it is directly dumped into the landfill, and high-risk liquid waste is discharged directly into the river through pipelines. Anyway, the people from the Environmental Protection Bureau have all collected money, and no one will hold them accountable. Due to a hangover, Roy's reaction speed slowed down significantly, and he quickly dragged the entire production line down. A low efficiency warning red light lit up at the workstation. What's going on? Ms. Diana, the production line leader, walked towards his workstation. Diana is a chubby aunt in her early 50s, wearing thick high myopia glasses and a bitter melon face. She has always been unmarried and has a bad temper. She often makes a fuss for no reason, as if she has been in menopause and can't get out, so she is jokingly called an old maid by the workers. Roy, your red light is on again. This is the third inefficiency warning today. Are you trying to force me to deduct all your points? Is it possible that you don't even want your basic salary? Please, team leader, please be kind. I'm running out of money to pay rent. Since that's the case, it's time to work hard and stop being lazy. Diana pushed the high myopia glasses on the bridge of her nose, which was her usual move, muttering angrily as she walked away. Roy stuck out his tongue and cursed softly, "Old virgin. She's always making things difficult, she deserves to be loved for a lifetime." Finally made it to lunchtime. For the sake of peace, Roy and Anna always sit face to face at the table in the corner of the cafeteria, not caring about the toilet next to them. There is a bowl of thick soup filled with additives and monosodium glutamate, several artificially synthesized protein energy bars, and 2 small pieces of mixed vitamin cookies in the plate. This type of work meal is the result of precise calculations by nutritionists. Although they are all synthetic foods, they can still provide the body with the necessary calories, protein, vitamins, fiber, etc., and of course, the most important thing is to save costs. Anna looked at her listless boyfriend with great concern. "Darling, next time you go to the bar, drink less. After a good night's sleep, you'll feel refreshed. Ms. Diana has a bad temper, and if she deducts your score this month, it will be disastrous." "Okay, I was wrong, I got it." Roy ate with a fork in one hand and clenched his fist with the other to support his head. "You didn't even listen." Anna kept persuading him, reasoning with him, making Roy feel restless. "Got it. You're really talkative." In the afternoon, a major accident occurred on the production line, and an operator was locked in a machine and unable to get out, receiving high doses of radiation. When he was rescued, the poor man's skin was rotten and peeling off, his mouth and nose were bleeding, his eyes were bulging, and he looked as if he was dying soon. The paramedics lifted him onto a stretcher and sent him away. Roy said, "This guy is dead. If Mr. Spike has any conscience, he should give his family a pension." Conscience. Will the factory owner have conscience? What a joke. Bart, a colleague beside him, patted Roy's shoulder and said, "Humph. You're overthinking it. Not to mention the pension, there won't even be work-related injury compensation. The factory will give money to accident appraisal personnel to identify machine malfunctions as operational errors. Maybe if they can't receive the money, they will have to compensate the factory for the losses." "Oh, I'll go." "Is it really so dark?" "Hee, Roy, you're still young, there's so much you don't know." "I'm thinking, Brother Bart, what if I secretly write an anonymous letter and report this to the FBI? You're looking for death. Fool, don't even use your brain to think about it. Factory owners and federal employees wearing uniforms, vampires and moths, a nest of creatures. These people have been colluding for a long time, so poor people should be content and meddle in their own affairs, do your job well and finish work at some point, come on." End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Flying Wealth. 4. Production Accidents. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 4, Flying Wealth. 4. Production accidents. Due to the accident, 3 of the 5 production lines in the 3rd factory area of Spark Battery Factory were shut down. The safety inspector pasted yellow plastic seals around the machines with safety hazards, and the engineers began emergency maintenance of the equipment. Long live! The workers cheered and went to the rest room to enjoy this brief paid vacation. Bart held a cigarette in his mouth and played blackjack with Roy. These heartless kids can even laugh at the rest time they bought with other people's lives. They are so heartless. Roy washed the cards and gently kicked Bart's calf. You said someone else, Bart. You are so happy that your face is. His mother wrinkled. You don't understand, buddy. It's called pain and happiness. By the way, Roy, your pretty little girl has been wiping away her tears all along, making my brother feel heartbroken. Don't you go over and persuade her. Roy glanced and turned back to continue playing cards. I'll go over and coax her when all her friends leave, he said. Humph, cry, make a fuss. My nose and tears never stop. It's exactly the same as the black sheep in my family. Woman, it's really troublesome. It's useless to wipe away tears. I have to endure so much injustice in this rundown factory. Roy skillfully dealt the cards and said, Anna is a sensitive person with an angelic heart that can help the world. She has been like this since she was 10 years old. When she saw ants walking around, it was a bit foolish to only think about others and not herself, but I just love her for that. Roy, don't blame my brother for being straightforward. You don't deserve this girl, neither in terms of appearance nor condition. There are many young men chasing after her in the factory, including those who are taller and more handsome than you. Even the clerks wearing shirts in the office upstairs are staring at her. If Miss Anna is willing, she can abandon you at any time and find a wealthy person to live a good life. After all, any beautiful woman in the world is in high demand. Don't be angry, it's true that good advice goes against the ear and is beneficial for action. I'm saying these things for your own good and to make you more sober. It doesn't matter, Brother Bart, you're not the first person to say that. I know what kind of virtue I have, just a waste. However, no matter how decadent and destitute Anna is, she won't leave me. We were little brats who grew up in the same neighborhood. At that time, we spent all day soaking together, urinating and playing with mud in the mud pit. This relationship with relatives was incomparable, breaking bones and even connecting tendons. Oh wow, so confident. What would happen if a nouveau riche found Anna's parents with a box of money? Humph, it won't matter. Anna will refuse her parents' engagement proposal and throw money at that person's face. She only loves me. How do you know? I just know his mother. Don't be so stunned. It's your turn to play cards. Due to a 4-hour work stoppage in the afternoon, the day was particularly relaxed and enjoyable. As we were about to finish work, bad news came that the poor worker who had an accident ultimately died in the hospital emergency room. In order to conceal the accident from the media, Mr. Spike, the factory owner, made an unprecedented move by sending supermarket shopping cards as sealing fees to everyone. Roy was overjoyed, holding a shopping card worth 1,500 yuan in his hand, grinning happily like a fool, with only Anna beside him, frowning and unhappy. All right, miss, don't cry anymore. Let's go shopping at the Womit supermarket, by and by. Anna sighed and said, okay. I want to go see discounted cosmetics and instant coffee on the way. What are you waiting for? Roy picked up his girlfriend and spun around several times, making her laugh. Don't keep spinning, I feel dizzy. I still have some business to attend to. I need to buy a boxed cake when I go to the supermarket later. I need to celebrate Shakira's birthday. Miss Shakira's family had a birthday party. Yeah, I have to go. She's my good friend, are you with me? I could forget it, I'm not welcome to attend the party of a group of little sisters. That's right, after going to the supermarket, you can go home without waiting for me. What? Are you sleeping at Shakira's house tonight? Well, her family has equipment that can sing KTV. Sisters haven't had fun together for a long time. Tomorrow is a rest day, and they will sleep when they are tired. Okay, it'll help you relax. Coming out of the giant shopping supermarket Womit, Anna walked away carrying cake and beer, while Roy carried a shopping bag towards home. In order to take a shortcut, he flipped through the railing and passed under the overpass, which is a dangerous area often chosen by gang members as an illegal trading location. Roy heard several gunshots coming from afar. Bang! Bang! He is not very afraid. There are always people practicing marksmanship by placing cans in the open space under the bridge, and he sometimes plays with his brothers like this. But the gunfire heard this time was not a target. After walking a distance, Roy discovered an overturned motorcycle with a female corpse lying next to it. Her helmet was pierced by a bullet, and sticky brain fluid flowed out. The ground was covered in blood. Not good, this is something that happened. Roy became nervous and tried to avoid the dangerous area, but accidentally entered the crossfire zone. On the dirty ground, there were about 10 corpses of armed militants lying haphazardly, some seriously injured and dying people sitting against bridge piers, holding guns or machetes in their hands. Near a smoking substation, a prominent fluorescent yellow light appeared. Upon approaching, it was discovered that it was a big man with a fluorescent skull tattoo. He sat on the ground naked. I was shot in my lower abdomen and legs, and blood flowed down the grooves of the floor tiles into the drainage channel. Who is there? Roy was startled and raised his hands as he walked out of the shadows. Big brother, I'm a civilian passing by. It's none of my business, he said. The tattooed man was panting heavily. Brother, come over here. Roy thought for a moment, but of course he didn't dare. He took a few steps back with trembling legs and accidentally bumped his back into the iron fence, causing the guard dog inside to bark wildly, woo woof. This genetically modified bulldog stood up like a little lion, with a big mouth and a paw. Roy was scared and fell to the ground, crawling back and unconsciously returning to the street lamp. Hey buddy, come over here and do me a little favor. I can't thank you. Roy nervously waved his hands and said, Listen, buddy, I don't want to get into trouble. The wireless communication network is down. I'll go find a phone booth to call an ambulance for you. All I can do now is do this. No, brother, you can do more. The tattooed man grinned and revealed his golden teeth. It's very simple. Can you see the smashed van under the streetlight, the one covered in graffiti? Look. See. I'm the one who pays the most. The tattooed man entered the password, opened the black leather box next to him, took out several thick stacks of banknotes, and threw them at Roy. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Flying Wealth 5, Night Adventures. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5, Flying Wealth 5, Night Adventures. Listen to me, brother, there is a 9mm automatic pistol with an extended magazine on the ground 20 meters in front of me. I see. Very good. Pick up the gun, load it, turn off the safety. There are 25 bullets in the magazine. Even if your marksmanship is poor, it's enough to kill all the bastards in the van. After finishing the work, you can take 60,000 yuan and leave. Roy looked at the money on the ground and swallowed his saliva. 60,000 taels of federal currency, thick 6-stack banknotes. For the upper class, it's nothing, just the price of a luxury item, but the meaning for the lower class is completely different. He had to work hard in the factory for 3 years to earn this money, whether he had to eat or drink. At Terra, the wages of the lower class workers were only enough for daily expenses, making it difficult to save. In fact, a poor guy like Roy who can't even afford fresh vegetables and natural meat may never see so much money in his life, and he can't afford to treat any illness. Suddenly, with a creak, the broken door of the van was pushed open, and a thin and weak old man fell out of the driver's seat. The poor old man's thigh was smashed and fractured, and he was bleeding profusely. He struggled to lift his arm and open his palm to Roy, not knowing how many shots he had been shot. I'll pay 100,000 yuan and help me kill that guy. I'll pay 150,000. 200,000. His mother. Old man. Where are you going to put this auction? The tattooed man scolded, and then turned to Roy. Don't worry, brother. My box is full of money, and we can negotiate prices easily, while his words are empty-handed. The old man heard the shout. Don't be fooled by him. This guy is a shameful charlatan. It was agreed that he would pay for the goods and deliver them at the same time. When he saw the goods, he began to bargain his mother. He used this place as a vegetable market. Nonsense. The tattooed man cursed. Get the hell out of here. Old man, the chips you sell are all low-quality junk. Second-hand chips removed from old equipment are not worth that price at all. Brother, pick up the gun quickly, shoot this old man, take the money and leave. Young man, listen to my advice. This guy talks like farting. If you take his money, he will definitely not live long. Why don't you kill him? Let's work together. From now on, we will enjoy eating and drinking spicy food. The tattooed man and the old man, two seriously injured and dying people, burst into verbal abuse through the air, and Roy felt awkward being caught in the middle. Actually, he can leave at any time. He is very scared. I want to run, but I am also greedy for money. My brain seems to be split in half, trapped in a pit of contradiction, with one leg wanting to move and the other unwilling to move. Suddenly, he thought of the worker who died in an accident this afternoon. The scene that flashed before his eyes was the terrifying remains of those who had been exposed to excessive radiation, the dripping sound of ward monitoring equipment, and the doctor shaking his head and saying, "There's no help, take them to the morgue." This illusion is too real, like some kind of fable, which scared Roy into a cold sweat. No, absolutely not. I can't continue to live aimlessly like this. I need to make a change quickly, otherwise the next person to have an accident may be Anna or myself. This is a great opportunity to change your destiny. If you miss it, you may never be able to turn it around for a lifetime. Damn it. Roy, you coward, be brave. Put it together. This is all I have to do in my life. Roy gritted his teeth, took 1, 2 steps, walked forward, then bent down and picked up the dewy, icy weapon. At this point, the two struggling individuals were already silent, and it was unclear whether they had lost consciousness or died. I could only hear the sound of cars passing by on the overhead overpass. Roy lifted his head and looked around. There is no signal in this place, and the cameras have been damaged by gunfire. There are no witnesses. That's great, perfect. I transform into a judge who can easily determine the fate of 2 people, no, it's 3 people, including myself. The feeling of controlling everything is really amazing. In the factory, any team leader or engineer can shout me out and scold me at will, and I dare not retaliate. But now, I can decide whether to live or die. Roy lowered his head and stroked the cold iron block in his palm. This is a grim 1971 9mm automatic pistol, heavy in his hand. He has played with the gun before, but it is not the model in front of him. It doesn't matter, the principle is the same anyway. Pull out the magazine to confirm the ammunition, then insert it to pull the bolt, close the safety, and Roy needs to make a decision, left or right. Is it an old man or a tattooed man? This is too difficult. Roy often fights and is skilled. He fights with his fists or sticks, but the most serious result is minor injuries. As for taking someone's life, he never dares to think about it. For some reason, he blurted out, "I don't know how to shoot." The old man temporarily fell into a coma, and the tattooed man shouted at him, "It's okay, just give me the gun." Okay, Roy nodded, and the tattooed man smiled. He was so happy that he coughed and trembled, as if he had won the whole world. Less than 20 meters away, Roy felt like he had walked for a whole lifetime. "Brother, give me the gun." The tattooed man reached out to him with a bloody palm. And then what? I'll kill the old man, you help me out of trouble, and then take the money and leave." In an instant, Roy observed the cunning gaze of the tattooed man. For him, who has been wandering around bars for many years, observing his behavior has become a necessary skill. Roy is very confident that if he hands over the gun, he will be the first to die. So he breathed a long sigh of relief, no longer hesitating, and raised his gun to pull the trigger at the bald head of the tattooed man. Bang! Blood splattered everywhere, accompanied by brain tissue and skull fragments, followed by the crisp sound of metal shells landing. "It's too simple, killing someone so easily. I shouldn't have any psychological burden. These scum of society, they do nothing wrong. I am doing harm to the people." Roy comforted himself so much that his mood quickly calmed down. The gunshot woke up the old man who had fainted next to the van, and he shouted to Roy in ecstasy. "Well done. Young man, you made the right decision. What about the money you promised?" "Don't worry, 200,000 yuan is not enough for you. Come here, I'll give you an address. Can you help me call someone to clean up this mess? Many corpses need to be dealt with, you don't have to worry about anything else. Just take the money and leave." "Sounds good." Roy walked towards the van. The old man's face was pale and he was panting heavily. Roy quickly realized that most people would be dead after being shot so many times. This old man must have undergone prosthetic modification, implanted artificial organs, and a fully automatic cardiac pump. Compared to the tattooed man, the old man appears much smoother and more worldly wise. He didn't ask for a pistol from Royso, nor did he show any flaws in his eyes. He took out a blood-stained business card from his shirt pocket. "Young man, go find the address on the business card, knock on the door and enter, and say that old Ward is in trouble and needs medical assistance." Roy didn't take the business card and said, "Where's the money?" "In the suitcase next to the person you just killed. That money was used to purchase my chip, and the price couldn't be negotiated. This deal was ruined, which is why there was just a gunfight. Now that I win, it becomes my money. I'll split 200,000. "Oh no, I'll give you half." "I'm sorry, sir, I changed my mind." "Wait. We can discuss it." "No need, good night." Bang bang. Roy fired 2 shots at the old man's neck and head, with a greedy expression on his face. "Sorry, I want everything." End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Feilai Hengsai, 6, Feilai Hengsai. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Feilai Hengsai, 6, Feilai Hengsai. Gently pulling the trigger, taking away 2 lives so easily was much easier than he had imagined. Roy turned off the pistol safety, inserted it diagonally into the belt, covered it with the hem of his coat, and felt the pounding heart in his chest, his legs still trembling uncontrollably. The people who were seriously injured and dying around were all silent. At this point, all the survivors of the gunfight breathed their last breath, leaving only him, the lucky passerby, to reap all the fruits. By late at night, the number of vehicles passing by the elevated bridge had significantly decreased, and no one had passed by in the surrounding area. In order to relieve his nervousness, Roy retrieved a pack of Wallace cigarettes from the old man's body, lit them, and took a strong puff before choking and coughing. This is good smoke. It tastes really his mother strong. He carefully checked the nearby cameras again and confirmed that they were all damaged before continuing his action. He walked to the side of the tattooed man's body and looked down. His brain, blood, and broken bones splattered onto the surface of the leather box. Roy couldn't help but vomit, and when he gathered the courage to reach out his hand again, he smelled the smell of feces and urine. He has watched on TV programs that after death, the stomach and intestines relax, the urethral sphincter loses its function, and the smell of excrement mixes with the smell of blood. In addition, there are no lids around the trash cans and the already polluted air, so he vomited again, but this time there was nothing left to vomit, only painful retching. Finally, Roy bravely put on the labor protection gloves provided by the factory, picked up his suitcase, pulled out a few advertising brochures from the garbage pile, and roughly cleaned the surface of the box. The password lock of the box has been opened by its owner, with the number fixed at 9999. Setting such a simple password is likely due to the large number of gang members and guns, which is why it is so fearless. Opening the box, the scent of the iconic anti-counterfeiting ink of the new version of the Terra Federation Universal Banknote came crashing upon me. Undoubtedly, it's real currency. It's packed to capacity, too much. It's not convenient to take it out now to count. Oh my God, how much money is actually in this box? 300,000, 500,000, 1 million. Strangely, Roy was not particularly surprised at this moment, perhaps due to human innate greed. He felt that the money in this box was a bit small. Now he was certain that he really had the talent to be a thief, and just a few minutes after killing someone, the heartbreaking sense of guilt had disappeared, replaced by hysterical ecstasy. Is it the bad life that forced me to become a devil, or is it the temptation of money that drives me crazy, or is it both? His mother, what the hell? I don't want to be a poor ghost for a lifetime even if I die after overcoming psychological barriers and stopping condemning one's own morality. Everything becomes much easier. Roy always complains incessantly on weekdays. He believes that he is careful and bold, and has received education. He believes that he is 100 times smarter than other workers in the factory and deserves a job with better pay. Unfortunately, the head of the Human Resources Department in the factory is blind and does not know how to select talents. Whenever this happens, Anna would say, "Come on, Roy. You always have high expectations but low skills. It's better to focus on work when you have complaints. Let's work hard together to save money. When we save enough money for medical care and retirement, we can live a stable life." However, the fact is that Roy is indeed smarter and more thoughtful than most people. Although he has never had any relevant experience, he is confident that relying solely on the crime-themed movies and TV dramas he has watched before is enough to help him overcome his difficulties. The piercing sound of electronic sirens could be heard in the distance, indicating that someone might have heard gunshots and called the police. Roy knew in his heart that he could never go home now and needed to quickly find a safe and enclosed place to count the money, and then find a way to hide the stolen money. He first picked up the 60,000 cash from the ground, stuffed it into a leather box, and then scrambled the password to lock it. There is a pair of handcuffs on the handle of the box, and the key is inserted into the keyhole of the handcuffs. This is an effective defense to prevent speeding cars from snatching. Even powerful gangs have to be wary of the attacks of petty thugs. Roy put on handcuffs, locked his wrists and box handles together, and then put the key into his necklace, wearing it around his neck. Now, I need to disguise myself to deceive passers-by and cameras along the way. He poured all the daily necessities he purchased from the supermarket into the trash can, and then put a plastic bag provided by the supermarket on top of the box. Using a piece of broken glass next to the bridge pier, he examined his image. Perfect, without any blood stains on his body, he looks just like other poor people who have finished shopping. As he walked out of the gloomy overpass, he happened to see 3 vehicles from the York City Police Department passing by from afar. Passing through the level again, Roy's confidence exploded, his legs did not tremble, and he walked lightly. Arriving at the border between 2 impoverished neighborhoods, although not as bustling and dirty as the city center, there is also a pitiful commercial street to meet people's consumption needs. As he walked deeper into the commercial street, the surroundings gradually became lively. Roy looked through the anti-theft iron fence, at the dazzling array of goods in the shop window, and looked up at the holographic advertising projection projected by the hot air balloon. The image of a glamorous man wearing a fashionable gel coat and purple lipstick emerged in the air, followed by a familiar advertising words, "Life is wonderful, but it can still be better. Ladies and gentlemen, please use the latest version of Amy 9000 Dazzle Lipstick with built-in micro RGB fluorescent lights, which can transform 9,000 kinds of cool light effects, and will definitely make you the most concerned person at the banquet. Please visit the official website of Omiya Company to inquire about relevant information. Welcome to try it out in physical stores. New users can enjoy a big discount of, buy 2 get 1 free, credit card interest-free installment payment, great. It's on sale, it's the lipstick that Anna likes. No, you can't buy it. Everyone has it in the mall, and it will show up. Having been in extreme poverty and debt for a long time, Roy developed a habit of extreme lack of confidence. No matter what wonderful things he sees, he always sighs because those things have never belonged to him. But now it's completely different. He has money and has confidence to see advertisements for expensive luxury goods. Although Roy is still wearing a second-hand coat and patched jeans, holding a supermarket shopping bag in his hand, there are hidden treasures inside, which the idiots on the street cannot imagine. This disrespected worker was holding a suitcase full of Terra universal currency, each with a brand new $100 bill. I can afford everything in the shop window. I can even buy the whole shop. It's so fucking cool. This is the feeling of the rich. It's really wonderful. I hope it's not a dream. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Flying Wealth, 7, Capsule Hotel. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7, Flying Wealth, 7, Capsule Hotel. Roy turned into a small alley. Even in economically poor neighborhoods, this place can still be considered a forgotten corner. Numerous privately built shantytowns extend from the top and sides of the buildings on both sides, and people running small businesses in nearby shops are crowded into these pigeon cage-like small houses. The privately connected wires are as intricate as a spider web, intertwined with the clothes-hanging rope. Here, the level of technology seems to have regressed by 50 years, without cameras or communication network signal base stations. Human wireless communication technology has long matured and can even provide high-latency remote video communication with extraterrestrial colonies. But ordinary people simply cannot afford their high data traffic costs, and in the Terra Federation, the convenience brought by high technology has never belonged to the poor. For low-level workers like Roy, if they want to make a phone call, they can only look for public telephone booths on the street. Queuing is time-consuming, not to mention, because sometimes they have to fight when someone cuts in line, and the price is not affordable. Even if you save money to the extreme and just put it down after answering the phone, you have to pay a basic phone bill of 8.5 yuan, which is simply too expensive for most people's income. If the distance is close enough, most people still choose to have a face-to-face conversation at a coffee shop or tavern, or use the original way of writing a letter. At the end of the alley, there is a dirty and dilapidated capsule hotel with the words "Ant and Hotel" flashing on a colorful electronic sign. This is the cheapest hotel in the city, and most bankrupt entrepreneurs and poor students studying in colleges in York rent in this cheap place. As soon as the door was opened, the wind chime rang. Inside was an air filter on, and Roy smelled the smell of cheap air fresheners and heard the melody of last-century electronic music. The counter was painted pink, and thick mist emanated from the plastic flowers next to it. The spotlights dyed the mist purple, giving it a strange and surreal feeling. It seems that the business owners here have a very retro taste and must love old movies and records. The owner of the capsule hotel is scalding her head behind the counter, and she must be Aunt Anne. She looks about 50 years old. She is heavily made up and painted with blue lipstick. Her bright false eyelashes are thick and scary. With a cigarette in her mouth, she is bowing her head to play a crossword puzzle in gossip magazines. Welcome, you can choose the type of room you want to stay in, from standard capsule rooms in Class A to affordable living rooms in Class D. Roy glanced at the price list pasted on the wall and threw out a wrinkled $10 old banknote. I'll open a private room in B1 area, a more secluded one with a separate bathroom, right? Yes, private rooms of Class C and above all come with independent bathrooms. The landlady glanced at him from the side and saw that it was a stranger. Her gaze quickly returned to the crossword puzzle in the magazine. Sir, please present your residence permit. driver's license or student ID as well. Sorry for coming out in a hurry and forgetting to bring it. Upon hearing Roy's reply, the landlady's expression was as ugly as if she had just eaten a moldy orange. She skillfully repeated a long paragraph as if memorizing lines, and it seemed that she had to repeat it several times a day. No, sir. I can't let you stay here. The York City Police require residents to bring legal documents and register. Roy has heard from his colleagues that he knows how to deal with. I am a poor student from another city. My travel bag was stolen by a thief, and all the documents inside are gone. It's wet and cold outside. I want to find a place to stay overnight that can provide shelter from wind and rain. Please help me, madam. This is a cliché lie that he doesn't even believe himself, so Roy took out a $10 bill from his pocket, folded it, and popped it into the counter with his finger. The landlady caught it. Okay, young man, but just this time, it's really pitiful. May the gods curse those damn thieves. My newly bought bicycle was also stolen last week. The landlady pushed open the magazine, typed a character on the keyboard with her fingers, and then handed out a card. Here, this is box 14 in area B1, located in the corner. It was registered with fake information. Please pay attention to hygiene, conserve water and electricity when using the restroom. There's nothing else. Wishing you a smooth academic journey, young man. Good night. Roy took the card and said, "Good night, madam." Following the narrow corridor, Roy found his room and unlocked it with a card. The purple ambient light inside the private room automatically turned on. The private rooms of this capsule hotel are all converted from recycled waste containers, which is low cost. Although the Sparrow is small, it has all its internal organs and everything it should have. Behind the curved sliding door is the bathroom, which provides hot water 24 hours a day and can provide one person with a shower. Half of the area of the private room is occupied by a single bed. Control the buttons on the bedside table to adjust the tilt. Turn the head to bend the mattress into a sofa, and lower the side panel to obtain a simple small table. Air conditioning, lighting fixtures, and ventilation equipment are all embedded and integrated into the ceiling. The low roof is covered with various types of data interfaces, power interfaces, and network interfaces. There is cockroach medicine in the wardrobe, which looks quite effective. The dense black spots are all cockroach corpses. Below is the refrigerator, which contains 2 cans of orange soda and a piece of artificial cocoa butter sugar-free chocolate. Of course, additional payment is required. On the other side of the wall is a wired video phone, with a bunch of safety tips and ordering advertisements posted next to it. Roy first probed to confirm that there was no one in the hallway, then locked the door and took off all his clothes. He took out gloves stained with blood from his pocket, cut them into pieces with scissors from the private room, and threw them into the toilet to flush down. It was much easier now. Roy turned on the air conditioning and ventilation, sat down on the toilet, then unzipped the supermarket shopping bag, took out the leather password box, and adjusted the number to 9999. With a crisp click, the lock bounced open. He unfolded the box completely flat, filling it with paper money. "Hello, you guys are really sexy, baby." Roy whistled and picked up a thick stack of money, gently caressing his lover's skin. He took a deep breath, letting the scent of anti-counterfeiting ink fill his lungs. Roy began counting the money clumsily, then confirmed that a thick stack was 100 sheets, which is 10,000 taels of federal currency. There are 75 thick stacks in the box, and a small stack of thin change, totaling 751,380 taels. Oh my goodness, such a large sum of money is enough for Anna and I to immigrate to an alien colony and settle down. Although we are still far from being wealthy, at least our economy is now free, and we no longer have to worry about rent and bills, be exploited by factory owners, or endure the threat of street thugs to his mother Terra. I want to leave this damn place forever. Roy almost forgot why he was so happy last time. Perhaps on his 10th birthday, he had a crazy idea in his heart, that's to rush out of the hotel, run naked on the street, run into a specialty store to buy a luxury car, and then drive while throwing money, opening the car window and shouting, "I'm getting rich." But he didn't do that. He didn't succeed in life, but he wasn't stupid either. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Flying Wealth, 8, Banknotes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 9. Flying Wealth, 9, Enjoyment. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9, Flying Wealth, 9, Enjoyment. Roy wore a proud smile on his face, as if everything had been done as he wished, and his tense emotions were relieved. Holding a shopping bag full of money in his left hand and a pocket in his right hand, he felt his gun through the fabric, thinking about what to do next. Be cautious, safety cannot be guaranteed yet, and it is certain that you cannot go home. It is best not to contact Anna. In case something happens that may affect her, keep her in a state of disappearance for a day to avoid the spotlight. That's it. It's already 3:30 in the morning, and there aren't many people on the street anymore, with no signs of fatigue. I feel conflicted in my heart. I want to stay away from the camera and avoid the police station security, but these places are often violent neighborhoods, afraid of a group of thugs coming out to rob me. Fortunately, that didn't happen. Trembling all the way, I finally found a chain of car inns where legally armed security guards were hired to stand guard, which is much safer than ordinary hotels. Roy arrived at the front desk, still using the old method of tipping the duty manager and checking in under a fake identity. This room is quite satisfactory, with an area of 80 square meters, equipped with a complete ventilation and filtration system, and a comfortable and soft double bed. There are no cockroaches in the wardrobe, the refrigerator has a complete variety of food, the door is made of alloy, the windows are reinforced with iron bars, and there is even a small bathtub in the bathroom, which is much more comfortable than the previous capsule hotel. Roy took out a small stack of money and put it in his pants pocket for personal expenses. He stepped on the sofa and removed the ventilation fan from the roof, hiding the shopping bag containing money in the ventilation duct. Still feeling uneasy, I used a clothes-drying rod to push the bag to the end of the ventilation pipe, retightened the screws, and installed the ventilation fan. After that, there were no visible traces. Perfect, even if the thief comes in, they won't be found. There is a bar across from the hotel, and the security guard at the entrance requests to search for him. Royce gives the security guard a bill and smoothly enters with a gun. Having money is great, everything becomes easier. A few drunkards were sitting by the bar, chatting and boasting to each other. Roy avoided them and sat down. "Hey buddy, have a Bloody Mary with ice." "I'll be there soon." The bartender had a fierce expression on his face, as if he had been splashed with sulfuric acid, but his craftsmanship was really good, and his mixing movements were pleasing to the eye. The ratio of vodka, tomato juice, lemon slices, and celery roots is just right, and this is the best Bloody Mary that Roy has ever tasted. Good wine. Roy threw a coin to the bartender and smiled at the ugly face. "Brother, you're really generous. Your craftsmanship is worth the price, and another glass of Blue Ghost." "Okay." The bartender hummed a tune, and his movements became more and more flashy. He deliberately demonstrated his skills and used his true abilities. When adding blueberry juice, he tossed the cocktail jar back and forth in the air, leaving customers dazzled. Looking at the crystal-clear Blue Ghost in front of him, Roy smiled with satisfaction. He experienced for the first time that tipping someone was such a satisfying thing. A small amount of money can make an ordinary person grateful and serve their customers wholeheartedly. The midnight news broadcasted on TV caught his attention, and the reporter was holding a microphone to visit the crime scene, which was where Roy received the money. Sudden events: a shooting incident occurred under the elevated bridge tonight, and rescue teams found a total of 11 bodies at the scene. Both sides of the fire were local gang members. These fugitives were holding illegal firearms and shooting at each other, with a few bullets hitting through billboards. Fortunately, innocent citizens were not implicated. Watching the live broadcast footage, Roy clenched his glass and his face was almost pressed against the TV screen. There was no mention of the lost huge sum in the news report, and the police also stated that there were no surveillance videos at the location of the incident, which preliminarily determined to be a gunfight caused by illegal chip trading. This is just the violent and bloody daily life in the poor neighborhoods. The reporter was so tired that he yawned. It seems that the York City Police Department has no intention of continuing to investigate this case, and there are piles of mess that need to be dealt with urgently. The federal government of Terra suffers from severe corruption, and most employees of the York City Police Department lack a sense of responsibility. These people only use their jobs as a means of making a living. Most police officers with ideas are excluded and resign to become private detectives. The efficiency of powerful departments is low, and citizens are numb. This is the fundamental reason for the high crime rate in York City. In the following news, the spokesperson of the police station made some nonsense about his determination to improve the security of the neighborhood, saying that he was determined to investigate to the end and arrest the leaders of various gangs in the neighborhood. This is pure nonsense. The police department has long been bribed and corrupted, or rather, the York City Police Department is the largest gang in the local area, scoring them a share in every crime. These greedy vampires. Roy no longer needs to worry about the police, he just needs to guard against the pursuit of gang members, which can be considered half of the success. To celebrate, he ordered another glass of mint jasmine. The cool mint flavor was refreshing, and he used the remote control to switch channels to watch TV dramas. Even the commercials inserted in the episode became interesting because he could afford them now. You're cheating. If you can't afford to lose, don't play. The drunkards next to them started shouting loudly, grabbing each other's necks and starting to fight. The security guard of the tavern also rushed in, and a group of people fought together. Excited bartenders and other customers cheered on. When Roy pushed open the door of the tavern, he was blinded by the dazzling light. The sun had risen, and several morning trainers wearing gas masks ran past him. Early morning is the time of the day when air pollution is most severe. If it were normal, Roy would casually suck in the polluted air, but now that he has money, he is no longer a lowly person and has become afraid of death. Roy covered his nose and ran to the hotel across the street. No suspicious vehicles or personnel were found. The hotel security guard was sitting in the booth watching the surveillance footage. When he returned to his room, everything was normal, but he still felt uneasy. He stood on the sofa, shining a flashlight into the ventilation fan. A shopping bag filled with cash lay quietly at the end of the ventilation duct. God bless, amen. Roy never goes to church, but he still drew a cross on his chest. Locked the doors and windows, pulled the curtains, and a surge of drunkenness mixed with fatigue surged through Roy's mind. He fell into bed and slept soundly all day, only to wake up to find that it was already 1 o'clock in the middle of the night. He was extremely hungry and went to the front desk of the hotel to order a hot dog package. After eating and drinking, he started yawning again and went back to his room to catch up on his sleep. It's time to eat, it's time to sleep, and don't worry about the bills. Damn it. This is his mother life. What kind of life I used to live like. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Flying Wealth, 10, Union. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10, Flying Wealth, 10, Union. The next day, operator Roy appeared on time at the Spike fuel cell factory station. The workers looked at him in surprise, as if they had seen a stranger. Roy was wearing a simple new outfit, a striped pullover sweater washed with water and jeans, wearing a pair of chestnut work boots, hands inserted in pants pockets, pursed lips and hummed a little tune, looking like a carefree young master. Bart walked over and patted his shoulder. Why are you so happy? Young man, have you won the lottery? Roy laughed and said, Brother Bart, you're really good at joking. If you really win the lottery, I'll have to work a damn class. I've been hanging out in the nightclub for a long time. Hee hee, that makes sense. I'll go have breakfast first, and we'll talk about it later on the production line. Entering the third factory area, Anna rushed forward and hugged him. Tears soaked Roy's chest. I thought. What happened to you? Roy hugged her and turned around. Don't worry, look at my arms and legs, they're so agile, there's nothing missing. You've been missing all day. I went out to do some business in the afternoon, but when I got home at night, I found out you hadn't come back yet, so I started to panic and went to the police station without anyone taking care of me. To be honest, Roy, what did you do yesterday? Don't even make a phone call. To be honest with you, Roy made a funny face. I went to find Xiaomi to steal some blood. Get lost. Really, I actually gave birth to 7 or 8 illegitimate children outside. Fool. Anna clenched her snow-white little fist and struck his chest. Don't joke. Be serious, I'm in a hurry. Okay, dear, just a joke, don't get angry. I went to drink with a friend yesterday and got drunk. I slept at my friend's house all day and forgot to call to report my safety. I'm sorry, really. Anna flashed her innocent and flawless blue eyes. Alright, won't I come back now? I also bought a new outfit, does it look good? It's quite handsome. But we've been frugal lately. I went home yesterday to ask for money, and coincidentally, my brother also came back to borrow money. Now everyone's life is not easy. Anyway. The atmosphere is quite awkward. Didn't you give it? It's coming. I went to the low-rent housing management office yesterday and have already paid off the outstanding rent and management fees. There will be no more annoying phone calls or threatening letters, of course, provided that we pay the rent on time. That's good, Roy kissed her. Thank you, dear. I'll repay the money immediately, along with the interest. Listen to me, Roy, I really don't have the face to ask my parents for money anymore. The elderly couple rely on meager subsidies to survive, and every penny is saved by tightening their belts. If we want to get married, we must start living a difficult life from now on and make up our minds to save money. Roy looked at Anna, feeling extremely heartbroken. He wants to loudly tell his lover that we have money. But he can't do this, it's not safe yet, and he can't let her know the truth. So he lowered his head and said, I've decided to quit smoking and drink less alcohol. If my clothes can be patched, I'll patch them. If my sleeves are worn out, I'll put on sleeves. Anyway. I'll work hard and save money together. We'll get through it. I knew. I didn't follow the wrong person. Anna, a sensitive girl, wiped away her tears. Let's go to the changing room, it's almost late. I love you, darling. I love you too. As always, workers lined up like a group of walking corpses to clock in, change clothes, wear protective gear, disinfect and enter the third factory area. People's gaze was drawn to the two people, a pair of arch-rivals gathered together, and the CEO and guild leaders were standing in front of a new production line to visit. A tall man with a hooked nose and a bald head is a famous entrepreneur, Mr. Spike Einford, the owner of this fuel cell factory. The medium-sized man with a gloomy expression and dead fish eyes and black circles under his eyes is the guild leader Mr. Jimmy Brown. The two people, who have always been at odds with each other, stood together. The workers didn't know what had happened and talked about it. They were scolded by the production line supervisor before returning to their respective work positions. A senior engineer is explaining intelligent machining equipment to two prominent figures. Gentlemen, what you are facing is the latest ASKH.2000 robotic arm. This big treasure is equipped with 12 sets of zoom probes, a 16-core 32-thread high-frequency processor, and the latest ICMAX 5000 artificial intelligence AI driver software. It can weld 40 fuel cell shells per minute, easily achieving twice the efficiency of skilled workers, and this baby doesn't need to eat or rest. It can be produced 24 hours a week, and only needs to be inspected once a week. Mr. Spark proudly took a puff at his cigar, which was a serious violation of safety production regulations. However, he was the factory owner, and of course no one dared to manage it. The cigarette ash landed on the shiny black high-end leather shoes. Look at this production line, it's all smart devices, and soon there will be even more exciting things coming in. Robots and genetically modified humans who can walk freely. At that time, only 5 engineers and 20 operators are needed to maintain production in the entire factory building. What about then? Your union may have to gather robots to participate in the strike march, it's really fun. Ha ha ha. Spike's hoarse mockery echoed through the factory building. As unpleasant as a duck's call, union leader Jimmy Brown still wore his iconic bitter-gourd face, as if he had never been happy or desperate before. He didn't speak until the other party's laughter was over. Tell me, Mr. Spike Einford, if the union disbands and all the workers are laid off, who would still buy your products? Do you want the robot to pay for the battery on its own, Well. Spike was speechless for a moment, but he quickly came up with a way to regain some face for himself. We have federal procurement projects and are not particularly reliant on the consumer market. Oh, this is really impressive. Jimmy Brown sneered and applauded. Thank you for taking me on a tour of the factory. I have some important matters that need to be dealt with urgently. I'm sorry that I can't accompany you for dinner, so I can only say goodbye immediately. After the union leader left, Spark Einford put away his hypocritical smile and became furious, stomping his feet and cursing. His mother. Jimmy Brown. This hypocritical bastard. How dare you make trouble for me? He threw his anger at the poor engineer and threw his head fiercely with a file bag. Let's go. Notify all departments and go upstairs for the meeting. Roy's production line happened to be not far from where they were talking, and he listened very attentively. Bart turned his head and said, Spike is such a silly idiot. He knows how to squeeze workers. This time he's encountered with a powerful character, he'll be exhausted. He deserves it. End of this chapter.